The stories of Adam and Eve, known in the Abrahamic religions as Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, share a common narrative. Even if you haven't been part of these religions, you likely know the basics. God creates Adam. Eve is formed from Adam's rib. They disobey God's command not to eat from a certain tree and are subsequently expelled from Eden. Eve then gives birth to Cain and Abel, with Cain later killing Abel. For many, this summary covers the extent of their familiarity with the tale. If you're relying solely on the Bible or Torah, you won't find extensive details, especially once Adam and Eve are outside Eden. However, this lack of elaboration and the unexplained hints in the story have led to attempts to fill in these gaps. If you recall from Sunday school, Adam and Eve had another son, Seth, after Abel's death. The King James Bible mentions, "And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years. And he begat sons and daughters." Genesis chapter 5, verse 4. But wait, daughters. It's intriguing, as the Bible doesn't delve into Adam's daughters. This leads us to explore the lesser-known aspect of Adam and Eve's family life, particularly their daughters. If you found this topic intriguing, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more captivating videos like this one. The Bible, often portrayed as a flawless and unified work, actually underwent a lengthy process within the early Christian church to determine which narratives it would encompass, a period spanning over 400 years. During this time, numerous newly converted Christians penned texts that ultimately didn't make the final selection. Various books explore the theme of Adam and Eve's daughters, including the Book of the Daughters of Adam, the Jewish Book of Jubilees, and the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan, among others. This demonstrates a clear interest among people to delve into the lives of these women. The eldest daughter of Adam and Eve. After being expelled from Eden and Eve becoming pregnant, she experiences labor, echoing the events described in the book of Genesis. However, a divergence emerges in the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan, where it depicts Eve giving birth not only to a son, but also to a daughter. And God looked at his maidservant Eve and delivered her, and she brought forth her firstborn son, and with him a daughter. In this unofficial narrative, the Earth's first recorded live birth involves twins, with one of them being a girl. The text further details that after 8 days, Adam and Eve decided on names for their newborns. The boy was named Cain, in line with the biblical account, while the girl was named Luluwa, alternatively known as Awan, as per the Book of Jubilees. Luluwa's name translates to beautiful because she was described as surpassing Eve in beauty. Conversely, Cain's name signifies hater. The text intriguingly suggests that Cain harbored animosity towards his sister even while they were in the womb, although the mechanism of Adam and Eve's awareness of this sentiment remains unclear. The second daughter. Imagine Adam and Eve, with a whole world waiting to be filled, couldn't settle for just 2 kids. After Cain and Luluwa, their twins, grew past their breastfeeding days, the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan tells us that Eve became pregnant again. When the time came, she gave birth to another son and daughter, naming them Abel and Aklia. It's a bit like how younger siblings often notice fewer photos of themselves compared to their older brothers or sisters. In the text, though, there's not much detail about Abel and Aklia's birth. We don't learn what their names mean or if they had any sibling rivalries before birth. While the story dives deep into the family's movements and the significance of offerings made to God for the first twins, it gives just a single sentence about the second set of twins in these aspects. Towards the end of the chapter about Abel and Aklia's birth, there's an interesting detail mentioned. After these children were born, Eve stopped having more babies, at least until Seth was born, as a sort of replacement after Abel's tragic death. The text tells us that no more children were born to them, only these 5: Cain, Luluwa, Abel, Aklia, and Seth. This contradicts the biblical account, but we'll explore that aspect further later on. How did the daughters find husbands? In the Bible, one puzzling aspect is the sudden appearance of Cain's wife. Up to that point, the only people mentioned are Adam, Eve, and Cain, with Abel having been murdered. So the question arises, where did Cain's wife come from if there were no other people? This question has puzzled theologians for ages and even surfaced during the Scopes trial in 1925. However, if Cain had sisters, then there's a plausible explanation. You might react with a "Yikes, Cain married his sister." But hold on, it's not as taboo as it sounds. Obviously, he couldn't marry his twin sister Luluwa. That would be improper. But if he married Abel's twin, Aklia, that would be culturally acceptable. Meanwhile, Luluwa didn't remain single. She married Abel before his tragic death. Interestingly, the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan suggests that Luluwa played a role in Abel's murder, although this is debatable. The text portrays Cain's resentment towards Luluwa even before birth, as Satan informed him that Luluwa would marry Abel while Cain would be paired with Aklia. This arrangement displeased Cain, who considered Luluwa more attractive than her sister. Some other ancient texts suggest that the dispute arose because Abel and Aklia had a third sister, making them triplets. The argument was about who would marry this third sister, potentially leading to conflict over obtaining a second wife. Other daughters of Adam and Eve. In the stories we commonly hear about Adam and Eve, their daughters Luluwa and Aklia don't get mentioned. But did you know there might have been more daughters beyond them? The Bible hints at this in Genesis chapter 5, verse 4. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. While these additional daughters aren't named like Luluwa and Aklia, it suggests that Adam and Eve could have had quite a few children during Adam's long life of 800 years. Interestingly, some Jewish traditions go further, saying Adam and Eve had a total of 56 children, 33 sons and 23 daughters. This aligns with the biblical command to be fruitful and multiply. The diversity we see in humanity comes from our shared roots in Adam and Eve. Scientists have studied a special type of DNA called mitochondrial DNA, and they've found something fascinating. They call it mitochondrial Eve. It shows that all humans are connected because we all come from one woman. This means that even though we look different on the outside, we're all part of the same family tree. Have you heard about Adam and Eve's daughters? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you have any ideas for other stories from the scriptures you want to learn about, feel free to share them. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you soon.